Hey there, welcome back to another episode of Karishma Connect. Now, whoever knows me is probably going to find it very hilarious that I'm actually doing this interview, but I must say it's one of the very insightful ones that I've had with a speaker who's really good at what he says and does. And he started a dating app which is called QuackQuack back in 2010. And he talks to me about setting something like that up at a time when there were no dating apps almost, and dating on an app would be a huge taboo, to now when he's operating in a land full of competition. How does he sustain that and how does he thrive in it? Go check out the episode to find out more from Ravi Mittal, founder of QuackQuack, which is a rather unique name, and he tells me more about it. And until the next one, stay tuned. This is Karishma. I'll be back yet again. Until then, tada. Thank you so much, Ravi, for joining me on this episode of Karishma Connect. It's rather funny because I am an anti-dating app person, so I'm very, very interested to know more for sure. It's a story that came to me, and I said, "Do I want to?" It took me 2 weeks to I think even say yes to it, but I'm so happy we're doing this. Thank you so much once again for joining me on a Saturday. It means a lot.
Thanks, Karishma. Thanks for having me. I know the skepticism behind dating apps, but I hope that I can tell you more about what we do, so that your audience can find more connect with how we run a dating app and how we try to keep people safe.
Yeah, absolutely excited. To begin with, tell me about your journey so far, Ravi. How are you where you are today and what's brought you right here? What makes it special? Dive right in.
So personally speaking, I started my career when I was 16. I'm a college dropout, to be very honest with you. And I started working with my dad, and I've come from a very typical Marwadi family, and worked with him for about 7 years in the manufacturing sector. Realized that that is not for me. I cannot deal with purchase managers and vendors and sales. That's a typical business line which I was not comfortable with. And from there, I started QuackQuack from a personal, a personal problem where I wanted to find a date online for myself. So that's when I tried to figure out, are there any dating apps in India back in 2010, which fortunately, unfortunately, figured there are hardly any in India at that point of time. And that's how I started QuackQuack. Today, it's been about 15 years, and we have about 35 million users on QuackQuack. We get users from across India. Last month, we did about 53 million user chats, about 162 million profile views on our app. And I think on a daily basis, we get about 15 to 20,000 signups. That's where we are today.
How did you come up with that name? I'm going to ask you that first, first off, because it's a rather unique name.
Yeah, that's the question I think I get a lot. In fact, I actually won one award, and that award was given by Tapsi Pannu, and she had the same question: "Ki, what is the story behind Quack Quack, the name?" Actually, it's pretty funny and very simple. 2010, my Twitter was very famous, and people were tweeting, right? And the message I gave my creative team was that we wanted a name which would resonate with the young, and it's like, चलो let's go with quack quack. अगर दो duck quack करते हैं तो it becomes quack quack. So that's how we came up with that name. It was very simple.
And how did you maintain, because you're also in a business that you're, if I have to put it in line with the podcast, you are in a business of connections, right? And how do you kind of make a business out of something as pure as that? And how do you kind of sustain the authenticity aspect?
Business point of view, it is a tough business. Of course, you are making two people meet online and expecting people to pay for it or make money from that process. That's not easy, and especially in a country like India where we have very low income, groups of people, and paying for a subscription is not something which is very often you see. A lot of apps like WhatsApp and Telegram are free, right? And people expect things to be free. But yes, we figured out a routine where we could connect people, we could get them excited about the whole process, and creating a value for them, where they can exchange their numbers or chat with them online. And that's how when we started. After an year or so, we went live, and after 3 months or so, we got our first paying customer. And I think that was the confidence we got. Yes, there is a market and people will pay for a product like ours. So I think that's where we saw the opportunity. In terms of how we try to keep it authentic, I think there is a fine line between how you run any product or a platform per se. Try to keep it authentic, where we try to keep educating our users how to find fake profiles, how to be wary of fake profiles. We also have a space where people can for live check, the people who have been suspended. That's the first from any dating app across the world. We have been recognized by the dating industry for that. So yeah, trying to keep it authentic, that is important in our line of business for sure.
And I mean, I'm sure you've seen many stories, you've seen many case studies, I'm sure, but is there one that kind of you can share with the audience where you were, which is, some an example of a story that you kind of hold close to your heart as a entrepreneur who's doing this?
As an entrepreneur, story close to my heart with respect to my business, I can tell you one story with respect to user story. I can tell you one story. So I'm going to share two stories with you. The one is where back in 2015 or so, I was too much into looking at competition, and that gave me a lot of pressure, and I was not focusing on my business. That led to a lot of health issues, and led me to a kind of a depression phase. Had to go see a doctor, and he said that, boss, come out of this, otherwise you're going to lose your health. So that was a wake up call for me. And after that, I had gained weight during that depression period. Lost about 20 kgs after that, trying to be very healthy. So that was a personal phase where I learned about how you should focus on your business and keep it strong. Your health is very important. That's one story which I've learned. That is very close to my heart. And whenever I speak to anyone, I speak about this because health is very important. Even if you work somewhere or even if you're running a business, right? The second thing is on a user level. I happened to be interviewing someone for a role, and they told me that they had met their match on QuackQuack, and they were going to get married in the next couple of months. So that came as a strange coincidence and a happy coincidence too.
Coming down to the practicality of starting something like an app, right? How much of a role do you think Ready Capital plays in that picture? What are the kind of things that entrepreneurs need to be prepared for?
See, when I started, capital was not of an issue because we were starting like just a website. In 2010, there were no applications back then. Today, you have to build an app. You have to do a lot of marketing so that the word gets out. You have to do a lot of collaborations with influencers. You have to take care of data security and a lot of other things. So, ready capital definitely is more important than it was 15 years back. And resources, hiring developers or maintaining a team is also very expensive today. So when you want to start up today, you need an in-house team, a team of developers or digital marketeers, or a enough budget in your kitty to market your product. So it is more important than previously, and it's pretty hard to sustain a business today. And that's why I think a lot of talk about funding and stuff keeps happening.
And how do you maintain the safety aspect of it? Because I'm sure each of these people also have a different demand for safety. I think across generations, the perception is also different. How do you kind of tailor make everything to suit that?
Safety again on a dating app is very important because you are connecting with strangers. Again, it is also important on a social media platform because you would get a random follower or random friend request for that matter. But on a dating app, you are trying to build trust on the first chat itself. And on a dating app, you definitely see a lot of scams going on. I mean, if you read the news, there are scams happening in US, in Australia, in Europe, and in India for sure. So, we have an AI layer where, we try to find profiles who are suspicious. And we have a 24 by 7 moderation team from day one, right from 2010, wherein, each profile gets screened, each profile's content is moderated, each photo is moderated, the chats between the users, they we have a mechanism where these chats are filtered, and we try to find patterns with respect to scammers and spammers. So this is something where it's an ongoing process, and removing these profiles is important so that people have a a pleasant experience. Otherwise, people will not come back and use the platform. So it's a business requirement, I would say. But we love to keep a platform safe for our users so that they are able to find more genuine. So we do use AI and manual moderation to a lot of extent, and dealing with spammers is a cat and mouse game on a daily basis. So yes, we love doing this.
And when you started, Ravi, you started at a time where this was not a thing, because when you're telling me 2010, that's like way back, and it wasn't. I don't even remember whether this was as much in the media or even within common talk if this was a topic. As an entrepreneur, I'm sure you would have faced that ambiguity, right? While starting out about the space that you were entering in, and then suddenly to be flooded with so many dime a dozen platforms again, and then facing, and you mentioned competition, which is why I want to ask you that question. What did you figure out about about that journey as you approached from basically having no competition to having so many players in the market? How did you evolve?
To be honest with you, I think the first couple of years were very difficult for me because the first thing is that explaining people that you're running a dating app, they don't get the concept, like especially the elders, right? So for them, it's like, what exactly are you doing? I'm not able to understand. But then you have to explain, ki, okay, this is like a matrimonial platform, but without the matrimony. That was the issue. We had a lot of issues with getting a payment gateway. A payment gateway is something very used to for people to actually make a subscription payment. A lot of times, our company was rejected because dating is a high risk category. People did not want to associate with a dating app. We had issues with a lot of advertising related companies. They did not want to run dating ads. So yes, there was a lot of stigma around it. Today that stigma is obviously very less. So it's okay. We are managing with that. We are living with that. I think it's a resilience at the end of the day. You want something to work out. So for that to work out, you have to work towards it.
And you emerged successful like you did. Tell me something, when it comes to QuackQuack, is it only available in India or it's also open to the world?
Only in India for now, and we want to keep it that way. We have seen a lot of growth in India post pandemic. We've been adding about 1 million users every 3 months or so. And India is a growing country with respect to the Gen Z or the people who are turning, 18. It's a growing country, and we want to focus here.
Yeah. Is there something you look forward to in future with the platform itself?
Yes, so QuackQuack is something which is definitely going to be there and focus on serious dating and people who are looking for casual dating also. We are launching two more platforms. One is for people who, have been divorced or widowed. So that is a platform for singles who are looking at second chances. And we're also, working on a platform which is purely and purely for people who want to get married, for urban singles who don't want to get into the typical game of caste-based marriages, or finding people from their community or so. So we're looking forward to creating these platforms for users in India.
Well, more power to you, Ravi. Thank you. Thank you once again for this conversation. It means a lot. It's short, sweet, and simple. And I really love that whenever an episode goes that way, because it keeps you hooked. And thank you so much for doing that.
Thanks, Karishma. I enjoyed all your questions, and that also got me thinking a lot more than my other questionnaires I get from journalists. So thanks a lot for this.